What I love about this retention journey is that it's self-regulating. There's a whole class of supplements, herbs that you can use for training, for helping your immune system, overall well-being and health, known as adaptogens. And the way adaptogens work is kind of in the name. They help you to adapt. They enhance your ability to adapt to stresses of every kind. So today, I'm taking it pretty easy, having a bit of a chill rest day on a Monday, not doing too much, because I can actually feel my body's asking me for that. When I was more in fight or flight, when you're releasing, when you're living that empty, drained life, you kind of ignore these signs in your body. You just feel kind of drained all the time, so you're constantly looking for that hit. But because I'm tuned into my body's wisdom, I'm listening to it today, and I'm just chilling. I'm not pushing myself too hard. You will need to rest on retention. It's part of the journey. You're not just going to be infinite energy all the time. So I recently rekindled my true love with my queen, which was really a miracle, considering what I did, the way that I hurt her, the way that I let her down. Nothing short of a miracle that we were able to come back together. And it's even deeper than before. It's even more loving, more connected than it was before all the shit happened. If you want the story on what happened, you can watch my first video on SR that I made a few months ago. But long story short, because of walking this path, this journey that I've been on, examining these deep attachments that I've held to lust, to fantasizing, to just getting that hit, that escape that lust gave me, because I've been willing to work through that because of what happened, it's allowed me to reach a deeper level in myself than I've ever reached. I had to go through the hardest experience that I've ever had to go through, but it was worth it. So I want to talk to you guys about how on retention, really on God mode, that's what we're doing. We're getting rid of lust, because why would you just chop the weed halfway down if it's only going to grow back stronger when you chop it? That's what NoFap, that's what SR is. You're just chopping a weed halfway down its stalk. If you're not willing to go to the root, which is lust, and deal with that on the spiritual level, this is only going to prolong the problem. It's going to treat the symptom but not the problem. If you want to be truly free, if you want to enjoy the feminine to the fullest possible, deepest possible level, you got to let go of lust, man. That's what's going to happen. You don't need to suppress it. You don't need to run from it. You don't need to pretend it's not there. You don't need to become celibate, although you may need to do that for a period of time. You've just got to let it go. Meaning you've got to become familiar with the physical sensations in your body that come up when you are sexually stimulated. And you've got to learn to relax through those sensations. That's what letting go is. It is relaxing. Don't fight it. Don't mentalize, don't rationalize, don't start fantasizing. That's what we tend to do when we get these urges. We start fantasizing, we start looking for more sexual stimulation. Just surrender. Surrender to the fire, to the energy which is burning in your body, and let it burn. Let it just burn itself to the ground. And you'll be left with more energy. You will become more powerful every time you overcome that urge. By letting go, you are gaining that energy back into your body. And this will build and build and build. It will accumulate with time and you will become a Super Saiyan. Now, when it comes to attracting your woman, which is going to happen as a natural part of this process, you will become so magnetic and attractive to the right kind of woman that you're not going to have to look for her. You are so rare, your energy is so rare if you're walking this path. Even if you're not walking it perfectly, you are still standing out from the crowd. You are 1% of men. So the right woman is going to be pulled into your field. It's not going to happen immediately. It's not going to happen, in your first, maybe it will, in your first week, your first month. But month by month, as you keep building up your energy, you are going to magnetize a queen. Now, when I was in past relationships, when I thought I was in love a couple of times next door, a couple of times before with the girl next door, as James Taylor says, I always found myself getting bored. I always found that if I was having sex and releasing, I would get bored no matter how beautiful she was. No matter how strong our connection was, I would get bored of her. And then I would start seeking stimulation outside the relationship. I would start looking at other girls, I would start looking at the sites, and I would sabotage the relationship. That was my pattern. I did that multiple times. And I always wondered to myself, is it even possible to find a woman attractive enough, beautiful enough that I'll never get bored of her? I think you know the answer. If you're releasing, it does not matter how beautiful she is. It doesn't matter how smoking hot she is. It doesn't matter if she's a pure 10. Body, soul, spirit. 10. If you're releasing, you will sabotage that relationship, or you will settle, you will compromise for a mediocre relationship for the rest of your life. You'll settle for being a simp. Now, what I've realized is that I'm more attracted to my woman now than I ever have been before. Even if I think about her, I feel excited. Every time I see her, I feel excited. Because I'm not releasing. I refuse to release, no matter what. I've been there, I've done that. I gained nothing. What's the point? There is no point, ever. Even to make a child. You've heard me talk on this before. You don't need to release to make a child. You will release a single cell, which is all that's required. That cell will be pre-selected as the strongest, most qualified, most ready, most potent expression of spirit that you have in your body at that time. That's why it'll escape without you having to release, because it's a superhuman. This is how masters are brought into the world. This is how Jesus was conceived. So you don't need to release for anything. You can just lay that to rest. Now, what happens if you're in a relationship with a woman who you love and you never release is you are essentially charging a battery that will never be discharged. Every time you make love, her negative feminine polarity is rubbing against, for want of a better term, your positive masculine polarity, and you are creating electrical charge. And that charge is being stored in both of your bioelectromagnetic fields. You are literally becoming deep cycle lithium human batteries. You are literally charging those batteries more and more and more, and that energy can be used in small increments for work, for creativity, for expression, for training, working out, keeping you young. This energy will just wind back your years. It'll hit the pause button on aging, whatever age you happen to be, when you start practicing white sexual alchemy, tantra, white tantra. And you'll never get bored of her, and she will no way ever get bored of you, because she's never going to find another man who can do this for her, who can charge her up like this. How often is she going to find a man who is full of his own juice, who never releases, who is basically a god walking on earth, who she's now connected with? What reason would she have to ever leave that relationship? What reason would she have to go looking somewhere else? And it's the same for you. When you reach these levels of intimacy with your woman, where you are just generating power together, and that power is filling both of you up, it's this mutual exchange of loving sexual energy, and you're never being depleted, you don't need to look anywhere else. This is the beauty. This is the power of walking this path. Going beyond nofap, going beyond semen retention, and actually just embracing the full journey, going God mode. Setting your sights on ascension. Setting your sights on awakening, remembering who you are through the vehicle of sexual alchemy with your wife. There's no higher path. You know, we've got guys practicing Kegels, doing all these different tricks and doing all these different things to just try and improve their performance in bed. I was doing that for a while. I was watching these ads on Instagram where these women are complaining that their husbands are wearing them out in bed, advertising these apps for teaching you Kegel training exercises and stuff like this. But bro, our ancestors weren't practicing Kegels. They weren't sitting there for 15 minutes a day squeezing their PC muscles so they could last longer in bed. You think any cavemen were sitting around practicing Kegels? Our ancestors intuitively understood the power of the seed to create and destroy. They intuitively knew that shit had to be held, transmuted, brought up to the brain, brought into the musculature so they could perform like warriors. This was life and death for them. They couldn't be frivolous like we can. They couldn't just prance around spurting out their god essence for any pixels they happen to see on the screen or any hoe they happen to meet at a party. They were not wasting this stuff. It was life or death. So don't give this up for anything. I know that you're going to be facing all kinds of temptations non-stop. They don't stop, but you get stronger. You're going to be facing times when you feel fatigued, you feel drained, just because life's been intense lately. You're going to go through these struggles and challenges, and you're going to be tempted to get that little energy hit. It literally raises your energy when you're sexually stimulated. When you touch yourself, play with yourself, go look at the sights, you're going to get that hit of energy which wakes you back up. You feel good for about 2 seconds, a couple of minutes. But then the low that follows is even deeper. You get taken down to a deeper hell just for the small reward of a couple of seconds of feeling good. This applies to in your relationship. If you're making love with your woman, you think that just because you're getting swept along in the experience, that it'd be really nice to just release. You know, it feels right in the moment. You know, just surrender to the moment. Don't do that, bro. I've been there. You've been there. Yeah, it feels good in the moment, but it doesn't feel good after, does it? Does it feel good when she stops respecting you? Does it feel good when she loses all attraction to you? Does it feel good when your eyes start wandering because you feel bored of her? Because you decided just to have a couple of seconds of enjoyment? You as the man have to set the standard in your relationship. Stop being feminine in the sense that You're getting swept along with the experience, and you're just letting the experience take over. This is what I've realized about sexual alchemy and letting go. It's a paradox. For the last 7 or 8 years, I've been walking the path of letting go, the path of surrender, where time and time again, life has been taking things away from me, and I've had the option to either fight that or to let it go. And I've learned through painful experience that it's always better to let it go. It's always better to let go of an attachment than to try and hold on to it. Now, this is the paradox though. Here's the distinction. When it comes to love, and when it comes to your sexual essence, which is actually part and parcel with love, they're wrapped up together. Your seed, you can think of it as a liquid form of love. You deplete your seed, you're depleting yourself of love. As soon as you come, are you excited about seeing her? No. Are you excited about doing stuff together, having fun together, flirting with your woman, playing with her, enjoying her presence? No. You're ready to roll over and go to sleep. You have literally depleted yourself of love for your woman, and she will mirror this back to you. But if you hold this energy, you keep it, you guard it with your life. You treat this like liquid gold, which is what it is. You literally have gold in your semen. This is the energy of God. You treat your seed like this, you retain it, you hold it in your body, and you use it to keep cycling and cycling and cycling, giving you the energy to exchange with her on an energetic level. You're feeding her with energy without releasing it. And then it comes back to you and it starts cycling and cycling. With every cycle, it's gathering momentum, it's building power. Your level of love for each other is rising. That's the distinction. With all this stuff I've learned about letting go, one thing you don't let go of is your seed. You don't release your seed. I don't know why this is. It seems like some weird paradox or contradiction set up by God in this particular universe, but it's a thing. Hold that seed and you will never grow tired of your woman. Your intimacy will keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper. You will be more and more excited by her as time goes on. And that's because your energy is getting higher and higher together. You're rising in consciousness. And you're going to reach a point where you literally realize who you are. But I'll leave that surprise for you. Much love, Kings.